For most of human history, your feet were the only vehicle you had. No wheels, no horses, no paved roads. Every mile you traveled on your own 2 feet, and those feet were bare. For roughly 300,000 years, your ancestors walked, ran, climbed, and carried everything they owned on naked soles. They crossed savannas, deserts, and mountain passes without a single layer of protection, and they did it well. So well that your body still carries the blueprint of that barefoot life, hidden in the arch of your foot, the spread of your toes, and the way you walk without thinking. But then something changed. Somewhere, somehow, someone decided to wrap their foot in something. That decision was not about comfort. It was not about fashion. It was about survival. And it set off a chain of events that would reshape your skeleton, your stride, and your entire relationship with the ground beneath you. The oldest known shoes are not leather boots. They are not sandals with straps. They are woven plant fibers, flat, simple, and surprisingly clever. Archaeologists found them in a cave in Oregon, in the United States. The site is called Fort Rock Cave. The sandals were made from sagebrush bark, twisted and braided into a sole that wrapped around the foot. They were dated to roughly 10,000 years ago. That makes them some of the oldest footwear ever found. But they are not the first. They are just the oldest that survived. Why did they survive? Because the cave was dry. Dry caves preserve organic material that would rot anywhere else. That is why we have them. But the real question is not when shoes were invented. It is why. And the answer to that question is written in your bones. Look at your foot. Look at your toes. They are straight mostly, and close together. Now imagine a foot that has never worn a shoe. That foot has toes that spread wide like a fan. The big toe points forward, not inward. The skin on the sole is thick, but not hard like leather. It is flexible. It grips the ground. This is the foot your ancestors had, and you can still see it. If you know where to look. Researchers have studied this. They have compared the feet of people who wear shoes with the feet of people who never do. One of the most famous studies comes from a researcher named Daniel Lieberman. He is a biologist at Harvard University. He studies how the human body moves. He has spent years looking at the difference between shod and unshod feet. What he found is striking. People who grow up barefoot have wider feet. Their toes are more separated. Their arches are stronger. And they have fewer foot injuries. Not more. Fewer. Lieberman also studied how people run. He found that barefoot runners land on the front of their foot, not the heel. This is called a forefoot strike. It is a natural way to run. It uses your calf muscles and your Achilles tendon like springs. It absorbs shock without slamming your heel into the ground. Shod runners, on the other hand, tend to land on their heel. That is called a heel strike. It sends a shockwave up your leg, through your knee, and into your hip. It is a harder way to run. And it is only possible because the shoe's cushioning absorbs the impact. Your ancestors never ran like that. They could not. They had no cushioning. So why did anyone ever invent shoes? The answer is not about running. It is about walking. It is about the ground. Think about the world your ancestors lived in. It was not a soft, grassy meadow. It was a harsh, uneven, and often hostile surface. There were sharp stones. There were thorns. There were burning sands. There were frozen grounds. And there was one more thing. There was snow and ice. And that is where the story of shoes really begins. The oldest known shoes are not from a warm climate. They are from a cold one. They are from the Ice Age. And they are not made of plant fiber. They are made of animal hide, leather, fur, the kind of shoe that keeps your foot warm when the ground is frozen. Archaeologists have found these shoes, or traces of them, in sites across Europe and Asia. They are called moccasins, or something like them. But the oldest ones are not preserved. Leather rots. So how do we know they existed? We know because of the bones. When you wear a shoe, it changes the way you walk. It changes the way your foot hits the ground. And that change leaves a mark on your skeleton. Specifically, it leaves a mark on your toes. When you walk barefoot, your toes grip the ground. They spread. They push. They help you balance. When you wear a shoe, your toes are squeezed together. They do not spread. They do not grip. Over time, this changes the shape of your toe bones. They become smaller. They become weaker. And they develop a specific pattern of wear. Researchers have found this pattern in ancient skeletons. They have found it in bones that are tens of thousands of years old, and they have used it to date the invention of shoes. One of the most important studies was done by a researcher named Eric Trinkhaus. He is a paleoanthropologist. He studies human fossils. In the 1990s, he examined the toe bones of ancient humans from a site in China. The site is called Tianyuan Cave. The bones are about 40,000 years old, and they show a clear sign. The toe bones are smaller and weaker than they should be. They look like the toes of someone who wore shoes. Trinkhaus concluded that these ancient humans were wearing some kind of footwear, not sandals. Something more substantial. Something that covered the foot and protected it from the cold. This is a huge deal. It means that shoes are not a recent invention. They are not a modern convenience. They are ancient. They are older than agriculture. They are older than writing. They are older than the wheel. And they were invented not for comfort, but for survival. The cold was the enemy. The ground was the enemy. And the shoe was the weapon. Think about what your foot feels right now. You are probably sitting. You are probably wearing shoes. Can you feel the floor? Can you feel the texture of the ground? Can you feel the temperature? Probably not. Your shoe is a barrier. It is a filter. It is a wall. And that wall is not just physical. It is neurological. Your foot has thousands of nerve endings. They are called mechanoreceptors. They sense pressure, texture, and movement. They send a constant stream of information to your brain. That information helps you balance. It helps you walk. It helps you run. It helps you know where your body is in space. And when you wear a shoe, you block a lot of that information. You are walking with a blindfold on your foot. So the question is not, why did your ancestors invent shoes? The question is, what did they lose when they did? And the answer is more than you think. Your brain relies on constant feedback from your feet. Every step, every shift in weight, every change in surface texture. This information helps your brain build a precise map of your body in space. It is called proprioception. It is your sixth sense, and your shoes muffle it. They create a uniform cushioned surface, regardless of the ground beneath. Your brain gets less data. It has to guess more. This can affect your balance. It can affect your posture. It can even affect how you move your entire body. Consider the strength of your foot. Your ancestors' feet were incredibly strong. Not just the soles, but the muscles and tendons that support the arch and articulate the toes. These muscles were constantly engaged, adapting to uneven terrain, gripping surfaces, and acting as natural shock absorbers. Modern shoes, especially those with rigid soles and arch support, can weaken these intrinsic foot muscles. They do the work your muscles used to do. Over time, your foot becomes less capable on its own. It becomes dependent. Dr. Irene Davis, a professor at Harvard Medical School, has extensively researched the biomechanics of the foot and the impact of modern footwear. Her work suggests that many common foot ailments, from bunions to plantar fasciitis, are exacerbated by shoes that restrict natural foot movement and weaken its musculature. She argues that the foot is designed to be a flexible, adaptable structure, not a rigid block. When we force it into a stiff, narrow shoe, we interfere with its natural function. We create problems. Imagine your ancient ancestor navigating a rocky riverbed. Their toes would splay, gripping the wet stones. Their arch would flex, absorbing the unevenness. Their brain would receive a rich tapestry of sensory information, allowing for precise adjustments to maintain balance. Every muscle, every tendon, every nerve ending would be alive, engaged in a complex dance with the earth. This was not just walking. This was an intimate conversation with the environment. Now picture yourself on a similar path, wearing modern hiking boots. The boots protect you, yes. They keep your feet dry and warm. But they also insulate you. They reduce the sensory input. Your foot cannot grip the rocks. It cannot feel the subtle shifts in the riverbed. You rely on the boot's structure, not your foot's inherent strength and flexibility. You are safer, perhaps, from immediate injury, but you are also less connected, less aware. This trade-off is the core of the shoe's legacy. Your ancestors gained protection from the elements and dangerous terrain. They could expand their range. They could survive colder climates. They could move faster over rough ground without fear of cuts or punctures. This was a massive evolutionary advantage. It allowed humans to spread across the globe, from the frozen tundras to the scorching deserts. Shoes were a technology of expansion. But that expansion came at a cost. The cost was the gradual weakening of the foot itself. The cost was a reduced sensory connection to the ground. Your feet, once highly sensitive instruments, became somewhat dulled. Your brain adapted to this new reality, relying less on direct foot feedback and more on visual cues or other senses. This is not to say shoes are bad. They are a triumph of ancient ingenuity. They allowed your lineage to thrive in environments that would have been impossible barefoot. Yet the modern world is seeing a shift. There is a growing movement towards minimalist footwear, or even a return to barefoot walking for exercise in daily life. People seek to reconnect with that ancient sensory experience. They want to strengthen their feet. They want to reclaim the natural stride that their ancestors perfected over millennia. They want the full conversation with the ground. Your body remembers. It remembers a time before shoes. It remembers the feeling of earth, rock, and grass beneath your bare sole. It remembers the strength, the flexibility, the constant, rich stream of information. That memory is still encoded in your DNA. It is in the structure of your bones, the arrangement of your muscles, the network of your nerves. So the next time you step on a sharp rock and your foot recoils, remember that ancient message. It is a whisper from a time when your bare feet were your most vital tool, a testament to a world where every step was a conversation with the wild.